Hello, and welcome to today's edition of Chapter by Chapter for Eye of the World. I am your host, Will Cowan, and with me, like always, you're with me every day. Even though we don't see each
single day.
We don't see each other in person. We don't socialize in person. I just know you as a face.
I won't anymore. I won't socialize with anyone.
Now that we've discovered the power of the screen, the video call.
Listen, I'm harnessing the power. You want to talk about what power I'm harnessing? The one power of the book. All right? That sounds a little religious-y, but it's not.
I was going to say.
I mean, the book I'm talking about is The Eye of the World, baby. Well, it's not called The Eye of the World, baby. It's called The Eye of the World. And let me tell you, yesterday I hung a hammock in my front yard, and I've been laying in that puppy and reading some book. Okay? So that's how I'm doing. How are you doing?
That sounds very relaxing. I'm doing okay. Yeah, today we're getting into chapter 23. Man, we're cruising along here. I felt like literally last week we were only on chapter 16.
I think we were.
Chapter 23. This is probably the best character introduction in this book thus far since the Gleeman chapter.
Yeah, definitely. Hands down.
So before we get into who's been introduced, there's we're picking up right where Egwene and Perrin left off in the last chapter, where they're still just walking. They're trying to get the camera.
Head in the camera.
And the first like couple of pages spreads over like, I don't know, maybe like a week's time.
Yeah, days. Days of them walking, taking turns
cheese.
riding on the horse on Bella, hearing about who should be riding on the horse.
Yeah. Like Perrin, I think it's kind of interesting. Like in my head, like I don't think of Perrin as like a big guy, but this is one of the first chapters where they kind of say that Perrin is a big guy because he worked as a blacksmith.
Yeah.
You know, you're not a small person.
I mean, he's the biggest of all of them, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah. He's like a big bear, like not bear, but like he's just a big
He's
kid.
A bear man. He's a Trolloc. He's been a Trolloc the whole time. He has the head of a bear.
And there's this great little scene where he gets on Bella and he sees Bella look back at him like, get the fuck off me.
What the fuck, man?
He's like, I'm sorry, man, but Egwene, she's just telling me like this to like sit on the horse, sit on you while she walks. They've got a good like little system going on here though. Like whoever's on the horse is like they're just relaxing, chilling on the horse, and the other person's kind of like hunting for food or gathering or whatever.
Yeah,
you know.
But whenever Egwene's up to do something, she starts using the one power, or trying to, start a fire. To
there's that scene where they're just trying to start a fire. Perrin goes off to get some wood. He catches a rabbit and he comes back and he sees Egwene just kind of like kneeling over the fire with her eyes closed, like meditating over it. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's not cool with it.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm trying to start the fire, because in the last chapter where he first met her, he smelled smoke, and that's how he was able to find her and like see tracks. I don't know if we mentioned in the last chapter that he smelled smoke, but he did.
I think we did. He's got a powerful sniffer.
He's got a powerful sniffer.
Nothing is possible.
And so she had a fire in the last chapter, and this time he's like, okay, pull out your steel and flint or whatever, like to make a fire. And she's like, I don't have it. I've been using the one power to start fires. And he's like,
I just shoot a flame Hadouken onto this wood pile.
Which goes to show like her power is already developing at a rate that is very fast, don't you think?
Oh yeah, considering like maybe like a couple weeks. How far much time has passed? A couple weeks?
I would say max amount of time since they've left Emmons Field is probably max maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months.
Yeah, if that even.
If that.
So 2 months ago, she had no magic.
She had zero, nothing,
Yeah.
and she then like the next time you see her use her power, she's able to like light up a rock, a stone. She's able to create light out of this thing that Moraine hands her, and I guess through the time like spending with Moraine, she might have picked up a few things, but now she's like she can from time to time. I don't think it's every single time, but she can conjure up enough flame to create a small fire. So if Aes Sedai, or if Moraine's armory of magic is like U.S. military style, like she's got the power of like tanks and Apache helicopters and that sort of shit. Egwene's power is like a pocket knife,
Currently.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, currently. It's still useful.
An Apache pocket knife.
An Apache pocket knife. It's got a little propeller.
Yeah.
You spin it. And
shaped like a little helicopter.
Shaped like a little helicopter. So Perrin's like, stop using that. I hate that. Stop that. There's another part where they're just like, it's kind of like they're just kind of passing the time together. They're eating bread and cheese. They find a point where they find some mushrooms. They have some good time with mushrooms.
Finally. Something different than bread and cheese. They snack on a couple shrooms. I was uncertain about these shrooms because they mentioned that they start, they enjoy them in laughter and start exchanging tales, reminiscing about Emmons Field. I wasn't sure exactly what the nature of these mushrooms are. These, what are they called? Queen's Crown?
Queen's Crown.
Queen's Crown mushrooms.
Yeah. And I bought a dime bag of those like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the nature of these shrooms, but I mean, I guess they're just mushrooms.
Look, we've talked about bread and cheese a lot
yeah.
in this series, and having something else like other than just the same meal, you're gonna lighten up a little bit. Mood's gonna change.
Well, I think they should have pocketed a few of them so they could mix them in with the bread and cheese next time, and have a bread, cheese, and shroom mix.
Yeah,
shroom
have a little vegetable bread in there. Yeah. There's a point in this chapter, like very, very, very beginning, where they're like, maybe like Perrin thinks like, it would be really great to play a game of tubers and shoots.
Tubers and shoots.
What the hell is tubers and shoots?
It sounds like snakes and ladders.
Yeah, but with tubers.
Is there a glossary entry for tubers and shoots?
Definitely not. I looked.
Fuck.
Because I was like, let's play a game of tubers shoots right now.
Let's play
on air.
I'm tubers.
Oh, I'm shoots. Start running. After like they spent a couple of days kind of with each other, do you think that there's going to be any sort of romantic
love connection?
A little love connection between the two here.
Nope. I don't know.
I think Probably. There's a possibility.
I mean, I guess there's more leaning towards this than anyone else, but we'll see. I don't know. There's not so far. There hasn't been any of that. Like, there hasn't been much of any of that kind of stuff.
I know, but this would be a great opportunity to do that, so that when you finally meet up with Rand, when we finally have all these characters back together again, if they ever do, like Egwene and Perrin being together and Rand being like stuck on a boat for 6 months singing sea shanties and thinking of Egwene, his long lost love. They get back together. Wouldn't that be kind of like an interesting sort of dynamic?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Fill out a couple 100 pages of content right
I bet you Rand's gonna find himself I think he's gonna find a comely lass along the way.
Oh yeah?
I think so.
Look, man, when you're on a pirate ship, anything goes.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. Like, it doesn't have to be a lass. It could be a lad.
It doesn't. No, it does not. It could be a lad.
Matt is with him, and perhaps Matt's got a nice looking dagger.
Oh yeah. Let's isolate that. So as they're moving towards, I mean, they're just walking towards Camerlin Road for days and days and days. And it's basically
Yeah.
the same thing over and over for them.
Yeah. Until they start smelling smoke.
Once again,
Now,
that sniffer picks up the smoke.
oh man, he can pick up a scent. But, well, I wonder if this has to do with anything. Because when they smell the smoke, Perrin goes checking it out, and he's like, God, I hope it's rabbits, or just, I hope it's not our friends being boiled, or I hope it's not Trollocs that I'm coming up on. He's just hoping and hoping and hoping. And he comes across this dude, and the dude is like, well, you can have some. You guys haven't ate for a couple of days since I've been tracking you.
Yeah,
And they're
so,
like,
well,
I might have missed something.
I mean, well, yeah, like he does a little sneaking before he starts talking to him, peering at the dude, seeing what's going on. Dude's like covered in furs. He's like wearing animal furs. He looks like Nightwolf from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily,
Yeah.
but that's, I don't know. He's they don't mention like okay. I mean, let's get right into this. These are wolf people. All right, guys. These are wolf people.
Yeah. These are wolf people.
So
or a wolf man.
I mean, they don't specify here that they're like an indigenous type.
But that's what you had in your head?
Well, they do say they say a few things that sort of
the sun brown skin, that
yeah, and you know
that sort of thing.
So, you know, if you're using Nightwolf in your head like me, that's great. If you're using that little boy from the Twilight movies, sure. I mean, if you're using Arnold Schwarzenegger, perfect. All right? But the fact of the matter is, these are wolf people.
Yeah.
Perrin notices the man's eyes are golden yellow.
Different.
They're different.
Golden yellow.
Piercing.
So the guy says, like, I've been tracking you for the last few weeks, or for however long. Thinking, like, I don't know if he says why, but he's just been kind of paying attention to him. I don't know if he's drawn to them or if the one power is kind of like shifting their destinies together. His name is Elias. His name is Elias
Machera.
I've got notes down here, and they're just written in like.
I just have Elias Machera written.
Elias
scribbled
Machera.
out like a maniac. Wolfblood? Question mark.
Wolfblood. So he invites them to like eat, and he's like, "I'm not gonna hurt you."
Give them some cooked rabbit, which I mean, after the cheese and bread and the mushrooms. So I'm sure it's
anything
a welcome
sounds
change.
good.
Oh yeah,
anything sounds good. And they start talking, and they're like, "We're trying to get to Camelin," and he stops them. He's like starts laughing. He's like, "You guys are so fucking lost right now.
You are real north of Camerlin. Like you're not. You like they are completely going the wrong way.
Yeah, you guys are out of here. Like you messed this up." And he says a line. He's like, "Oh, my friends are coming."
Yeah,
and that's kind of like, oh my god, like if this guy's really really evil, then his friends, like that could be bad news for.
Could be Trollocs. Could be Myrddraal.
It could be just bandits.
Yep.
You know, you're out in the country, right? And it's a fantasy world, and people
could
who
be
live
anything.
above
They
the
just
law.
create a new thing, and then there it is.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of happening here, because as they, that's kind of like
exactly what's happening here, because now there's werewolves in this story, folks.
Well, they're not. I don't think they're werewolves, because they're just wolves.
Yeah,
wolves just show up.
Yes, the wolves show up, and I guess there's and Elias can speak to the wolves.
Kind of. Yeah, like the wolves don't attack them. They just like settle down around them. They're just hanging out. They're just chilling. And Egwene and Perrin are like,
"We gotta fight wolves.
We gotta fight some wolves."
Yeah.
And he's like, No. It's fine. Just relax. These are my friends.
And he calls them.
And he's like naming it.
I have their names.
I have their names too. You tell them.
Dapple, Hopper, Burn, and Wind. I think
Yeah,
those are great wolf names.
those are great wolf names.
My favorite is Dapple.
Well, Dapple, throughout their conversation, they're they're kind of learning more about who he is, and he's kind of saying that he's a wolf brother. And wolf brothers are this group of people that have been around way longer. They're like an ancient people, you know. They this practice of talking to wolves and being a part of a wolf clan is ancient, and only so many people can do it. And because of the fact that they do this, they kind of live sort of solitary lifestyles. They live with wolves most of the time,
Yeah, wolf
you know.
people.
And part of the reason why I think Elias was following Perrin and Egwene, and he says this here, is that he says to Perrin, he's like, you got a bit of the wolf brother in you.
Yeah, it turns out that Perrin can also talk to wolves.
Well, he doesn't fully accept it at first. Like, but when he's looking at the wolves, he can just like see expressions on their face or kind of read them in a different way they never really thought of before.
Yeah, and there was that time
Um
he was at the zoo and he made the glass disappear in between what the wolf got out of the glass. Started messing
thank
with his cousin.
uh and he doesn't know how to take it, but I think there's another point where Elias like, tell us your story and we'll decide like if you're like good or like I can't remember, but like we'll decide like if we're going to be helping you. And they tell this story. It's like a cover story of them trying to see the world, um kind of hitting the beats. It's interesting because it kind of hits some of the beats that the Gleeman told to the pirate. I can't remember his name already, but the pirate guy, like,
Captain Berlon. I don't know.
that's not it. That's definitely not it. But
That's the
it's funny
city.
because it kind of it kind of hits some of those same beats. Not all the same beats, but some of them, of just being travelers and just like they hit the same places over and over and over again. And as soon as they wrap up that story, Dapple like starts growling. He's like, bullshit.
Yeah, Dapple
And
knows.
Elias is like, Dapple, he's like, Elias is like, Dapple doesn't believe that. For a hot second, he doesn't believe it. And Burn is like, he's like the Raphael of the group.
Yeah, Burns the
You
cool
know?
guy. Well, no.
Yeah, Burn's the cool guy.
Well, there might be a Michelangelo. Is all I'm saying.
Well, the way I thought of it already is that Dapple is the Leonardo. Like, uh, Elias says that Dapple kind of leads his pack. So I see Dapple as a Leonardo. Burn is a Raphael. He's a little more hot headed. He's got scar on his face. He's got a red bandana. It's he's Raphael. The other two, Hopper and Wind, I don't know. They've got to be like Donatello and Michelangelo in some sort of way.
And they sure are.
It's the four powers, man. If you're gonna have a group of four, you have to hit those personality types.
That's
You
right.
know,
It was written in stone. It's the way it has to be.
Burn also hates them. He hates people. You know,
Yeah.
and
They mentioned a couple times that they don't like people.
yeah,
They
especially
don't like going in the cities. They don't like being around large groups of people at all.
yeah. And Burn doesn't like Perrin or Egwene, and he's like, "Why don't we just kill him?" Excuse me. Why don't we just kill him?
Mm-hmm.
But like it's not said like that. He just like growls, and then like Dapple stops him, and Elias. It's funny because like when the conversation happens between Elias and the dogs or the wolves, no words are said. They just look at each other.
Yeah.
They just like stare at each other and just feed off of each other's emotions. And that's when they come up with just the agreement to follow them after Perrin and Egwene tell the truth of where they're going. Like
They tell the truth, and Elias says, "All right, we're gonna follow you." And they say,
yeah,
"Why?" And he says, "Dapple says so."
Dapple says so.
And then
He
Burn
says,
gets real pissed.
Yeah, he gets real mad and he just fucks off into the forest.
Yeah.
Just that like huff and
And that's
puff,
where I
or
see
maybe
the
like
Raphael analogy works really well. Getting all pissed
this
off and
is
putting on that coat and a hat, going out in the
yeah.
city, and then,
Oh yeah.
fighting some dudes
Pretending
on
that
a roof.
pretending he's Batman.
Yeah.
This is garbage. I don't want anything to do with you guys for the next chapter or so. I'll be back, kind of huffing puffing, but
Um, but it's in this moment too that Perrin actually feels the hatred from Byrne, and
yeah,
maybe says, "Hey, maybe I am a wolf man. Maybe I am
he's
a wolf
still
brother."
freaking. He's still freaking out about it though, in a way that like I don't know if I would be free. I don't know. Like it's a fantasy world. I don't know. Like and like these people, the Emmons Field folk are just so afraid of magic or anything just kind of outside the realm of normality that being told you have Aes Sedai powers or you can talk to wolves or anything like that, you get kind of mad. Especially like Perrin and Matt. Like they still don't. Perrin especially still doesn't want to do doesn't want anything to do with Aes Sedai. Like he's just doing this because his friends are still involved in this, and he wants
Mm-hmm.
to be there for his friends. So when he's told this that he's a wolf brother, he's so resistant to it, and he's like he sees the fact that he can kind of read the feelings of these wolves, but he's very resistant to it. Which honestly, Steve, I don't think I would. I think I'd
I
be
would
talking to those
embrace the
wolves all
shit
day.
out of that. I'd be like, "Hopper, saddle up. I'm riding you now." A couple
I'd be
notes
talking to dogs
I have here
every
too
day.
is they mention, like, Elias mentions once they hear the story, he mentions they don't like Aes Sedai. Big surprise. Nobody does. Nobody trusts him. But
Mhm.
his reasoning is that he unfortunately has killed a couple warders in his time, and
Yeah.
it's not looked upon too kindly. So the Aes Sedai have more of a problem with him than he maybe does with them.
Is is do you get the idea that Elias is kind of immortal in a way? Like
Yeah,
he's lived for
like
a long
something.
time?
Yeah, definitely. There's something going on
Like
there. I'm really interested in to see his character get sort of fleshed out here and what else they. I don't know. Like, is
I
he?
think he's I don't know. Like I think he's great. Like I think this character is this character could be the mentor character for Perrin. Like you know how in last chapter that we read, I was talking about, the hero story. This is kind of the hero story kind of arc for Perrin now. Because you know how Gwaine kind of took a step back in the last chapter to kind of let Perrin take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
It could be for the fact that Robert Jordan was like, I want to flesh out Perrin a little bit more because we spent some time on Egwene, her Aes Sedai powers, that sort of stuff. But now let's focus on Perrin and this ability. And if you remember from Min's prophecy, that wolves are involved in Perrin's future in some sort of way. I think she mentions that she sees
Ooh,
wolf.
were they his? Was his a wolf?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was something to do with uh his prophecy that Min was telling.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking. Yep. His is wolf and a broken crown and trees flowering around Perrin. The
So,
last two things don't bode too well for him.
a broken crown. I mean, what if he's supposed to be king? Wolf brothers in some sort of way. Maybe there's some sort of like race of wolf brothers that
Yeah,
uh
maybe. Yeah, he's like a yeah. Maybe he is part of a royal wolf blood lineage,
yeah.
or maybe he takes the crown after maybe something happens to the wolf
Yeah, like
king.
maybe a broken crown means a broken lineage. You
Yeah.
know, maybe he's involved in that lineage in some way, or maybe somebody else has taken him away from that lineage. But that also bodes to the fact that he could be born outside of Emmons Field, making now Rand and Perrin the two different people that were born outside of Emmons Field that could be part of the Dark One's plan.
Yeah. And then his last thing is trees flowering around him.
That doesn't sound any good. That doesn't sound good at all.
That sounds like death.
That sounds like death. That sounds like a funeral. That sounds like an Uruk-hai has shot 10 arrows into him and Aragorn just gave him a kiss on the forehead.
Yep.
It doesn't bode very well for him at all. So where were we again? Yeah, Wolfbrother people are like an older than Aes Sedai. They don't have a good history with Aes Sedai. And Dapple, after telling the truth, Dapple tells Elias, who relays it to Perrin and Egwene, that they're going with them. That they're like a wolf pack in a way.
They're bonded.
Trying to get the Caemlyn. Now,
which is pretty cool. I don't know. They got this like wolf entourage now. Wolf guards.
Absolutely. I would feel 100% better every night now. That you've got this guy that's like, who's admitted to like, yeah, Aes Sedai's and warders don't really get along with me. I've killed a bunch. And you'd be like, okay, well, if he's killed a bunch.
They also mentioned, Byrne has a Trolloc wound that they kind of brush over.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why he runs off. Because they've ran into Trollocs and they're like, why aren't we going after the Trollocs right now instead of going to Caemlyn?
And yeah, that's got to be it, right? That Byrne wants to go get revenge on the Trollocs.
Yeah, exactly. Which, like, that to me, that spells the demise of Byrne.
Well, I hope not. But they got 4 of them, so they're definitely expendable.
Yeah. I'm going to call it right now. Elias, he's not making it out of this series alive.
I mean, we don't need him, really. If Perrin's a Wolfbrother, we don't need Elias.
If Perrin's a Wolfbrother, probably with some sort of broken lineage, maybe some royalty in him. Elias is not making it out of this series alive.
I don't think so.
But that wraps up this chapter.
That's basically it.
Yeah, that's basically it. We'll be back tomorrow. What chapter is this again? Chapter
This is chapter 23, so we'll be back tomorrow with chapter, say with me now, chapter 24. I see, that was perfect.
We gotta work on our timing.
No, that was perfect.
That was perfect. Yeah, flight down the RNL, so I think we'll be going back to Rand and everybody, but we'll see. I haven't read the chapter yet. Thank you all for listening, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.